Galaxy, a podcast where the fun truly does begin. Today we sat down with Mike, the creator of A Guy Who Loves Star Wars, the YouTube channel and Instagram, and talked about his journey through the Star Wars fandom, social media, the whole thing. This is our first episode of what I'm calling a creator highlight, where I have different Star Wars creators come on, talk about their journey, talk a little bit about Star Wars. If you're new here, thanks for joining, and consider leaving a review if you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or anywhere you're listening to. That would mean the world. Until then, let's get into the episode. We are joined today by Mike from the channel A Guy Who Loves Star Wars. Mike, how are we doing today?
Doing great. How are you guys?
I'm doing good. I just had surgery on Friday, so I am recovering. I did make it to this chair. I had a double hernia surgery, so we're making it. Ethan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I did not have a surgery. I am fully healthy right now, and I'm excited to meet you and talk to you about Star Wars.
Yes, I have not had a surgery either, so thankfully.
Good. There you go.
Yeah.
So Mike, you have so I wrote down some notes on this before we started last week, and you had 176,000 followers on YouTube. Today you have 179. I believe you're almost at 180. You have 49,000 on Instagram, I believe, which are very impressive numbers.
Yeah, congrats.
I'm excited to get to talk.
That's a good job.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're going to get to 200K here soon. But to start out, do you have, I kind of prepped you on this. I don't know, you may not have one. Do you have like a Star Wars fun fact that you feel like all Star Wars fans should know, or ones that you're surprised that people don't know more of, if that makes sense?
Well, I mean, I make a ton of these sort of did you know type videos when it comes to Star Wars. Some of them are very, very like, you definitely didn't know this. Some of them are really, really cool. I actually made one today about the Obi-Wan Kenobi series where Obi-Wan's daughter's actually in it and they have a conversation together, which is pretty cool. But one of the cool, I think, because it's my favorite movie, is in Revenge of the Sith, where the Millennium Falcon is in Revenge of the Sith, and not a lot of people like catch that or notice it. It's sort of like a mini little Easter egg. It's not easy to see, but it is very, very cool. But my favorite Star Wars related but not really Star Wars thing is that how much of what we do now, like what we're talking on right now, the stuff we're using to record this podcast and edit and do all this, how much that was really inspired by and created by the same guys who created the original trilogy. Because so much of the editing software and stuff like that we use today, some very, very simple stuff that it's all over the place, that was created by George Lucas, ILM, and all the original guys who created the original trilogy, which is really, really cool.
No, I love that so much. Like, honestly, I've probably watched more behind the scenes of Star Wars than Star Wars, because I like those guys are way cooler to me. Actors are awesome, but like John Knowles and like all these guys, like in the Light and Magic like documentary they just came out with, like I agree with you. That is pretty wild.
Same here. I just, as far as it goes for me when I'm watching Star Wars, I'm an actor myself, and I see things more from a theater side, so I always help with set design, and then I meet with the directors, and I see how they're creating these ideas and how the scripts come to life, you know? So to watch behind the scenes on Star Wars is, I honestly probably same for me. I've seen a lot of behind the scenes. Probably not more than Star Wars. That's pretty hard to say. There's a lot of Clone Wars, but...
True.
Yeah.
True. No, that's a great fun fact. So let's jump into it. You already said your favorite movie is Revenge of the Sith, which is so solid. I can kind of gauge your general sense from it. But what is your, like, what, quote unquote, what's your Star Wars story? Like, where did you first see Star Wars? Has it been a thing forever? Like that kind of deal.
Yeah, no. So I'm 23 years old. Some of you might not be able to believe that, but I'm 23 years old. So that puts me, I was 1 when Attack of the Clones came out. I was 3 when Revenge of the Sith came out. So I wasn't seeing those movies in theaters. I know. My first movie I saw in theaters was The Force Awakens, but I had known Star Wars for a long time before that. I literally can't remember a time where I didn't know about Star Wars or know of Star Wars. But sort of the funny joke that's always run around my family now that I host a show about Star Wars is that for like my 4th or 5th Christmas or whatever, I got the whole box set of Star Wars movies, but Episode 3 was taken out of it because it's PG-13. So I didn't watch Revenge of the Sith for the longest time because it's Anakin burning alive. It's Dooku's head being chopped off. It's intense. But yeah, so I've literally known Star Wars as long as I can remember, which is crazy.
So
That's really cool.
Was it like an older brother, like a family member that introduced you to it, or like what?
Yeah, I mean, my parents, or my dad specifically, I guess, really likes Star Wars and still watches all the stuff today, and we stay up to date on all of it. So it's yeah, I guess from there. My brother's not so much, but
Yeah, I was just going to say, I also am 23 years old. I think The Force Awakens was also the first thing I saw in theaters. So something I'm curious about you then, being that same age as me, like I always grew up knowing about Star Wars. I had Star Wars toys before I probably even saw my first movie, you know. And we just recently did an episode on the Lego Star Wars. Did you play Lego Star Wars before you watched Star Wars as well?
before I watched it, I don't know. Well, before I watched the sequels, definitely yes. But before I watched anything Star Wars, probably not. The complete saga, though, the Lego Star Wars complete saga, is probably my most played game still now to this day. Like I play a lot of video games, but that I played so much.
We just released a whole episode on this, and we could talk about it forever. It's just such an awesome game because it is like anyone can play it, right? Like I've played it with my grandmother. Like anyone can play this game and just pick it up and have a good time. But you can also be like really competitive in it, which I think is amazing. Like Star Wars, Lego, they completely killed it. So you have was YouTube your first online social media endeavor with this name of a guy who loves Star Wars?
No, I mean,
Okay.
It was around 2020 when I made all these accounts, so it was the beginning of sort of the whole shutdown and everything, and I was bored beyond belief, and actually I just had a surgery, and I was laid up in bed, wanted to talk Star Wars. It was around the time The Mandalorian Season 2 came out, and I wanted to talk Star Wars with anybody who would listen to me, all my friends, my parents, whatever, and they were all like, Mike, shut up, we don't want to hear about Star Wars anymore. I was like, all right, well, I'll find somebody who does. So I made a guy who loves Star Wars. I came up with the name. I don't even know how I came up with the name, but I came up with the name, and I made a YouTube, an Instagram, an X, a Twitter, everything. And I didn't really post frequently at all on YouTube or really anywhere else except for Instagram.
Yeah.
Grew a little bit of a following on Instagram first, and then YouTube sort of came after. But it was sort of I want to talk Star Wars with a bunch of people who want to talk Star Wars. So I just found that place, I guess, online.
That's super interesting because that is very similar to mine. I started my Instagram in 2020 as well. But it was just specifically for memes. And then I was like, hey, I kind of like talking about stuff. I like growing this. I think I can make this be something. I never ever made the pivot to YouTube itself. I'm kind of overwhelmed by long form content. That's why I have the podcast now, because it's a way to do long form content that's not necessarily edited, and like I can edit, but you know, the whole thing. But
Yeah, and I noticed too, you have 1.4 thousand videos on YouTube. That's a lot of time and work you put. I'm sure a lot of those are shorts as well, but
Yeah.
that's where you get, like, you can see you're almost at 180,000 now and 179,000 subscribers. So once again, congrats on that. But it shows a real dedication in that you are a true fan, you know. And I see your what if videos or did you know, you know, and it's super exciting and fun to watch. So I think you're doing something really good.
Well, thank you. That means a lot. Yeah, no, you don't. I mean, I've made 1,400 videos on YouTube. It doesn't feel like that, but it does take. It's been years, so it just accumulates over time. The 180 or almost 180 that's up there now, it doesn't feel real still because it's happened so quickly. First couple of years, I only had 1,000 subscribers. It took me 2 or 3 years to get to 1,000.
Yeah.
So like when you get to this point, you're like, well, what's going on now? Like, where did all these people come from? You know?
Yeah. No, I completely agree. So you said it was a slow kind of start. Did you ever have anything like burnout or like questioning whether you should keep doing it, that kind of deal?
I mean, yeah, it's really, really tough. And because now I'm getting so many questions of like, how do you start? How do you do this? How do you do that? It is such a hard thing. You have to actually enjoy doing it, or else you're going to be sitting there at 1, 2 in the morning and be like, what am I doing? Should I even be doing this? Even now, even how much I do love Star Wars, I still feel that, where if I'm making a breakdown video or something and it's literally 4 or 5 in the morning and something's not working or my software broke or something's not loading and I'm like, why am I doing? I should just go to bed. Like, what's going on here? But it is such a satisfying thing. Like, if you were to tell me that 5 years ago when I started this channel that Ethan would have just said, congrats on your success, and it would have made me feel as happy as I just felt 20 seconds ago, then I would have been like, that's all worth it. Like, literally all that is worth it. So it's a really, really slow burn and not a lot of reward for a long, long time. And even now, like, it feels like a reward, of course, but it still feels like the little things of just somebody commenting like, great video.
Yeah.
Like, that's what gets you like, oh my God, yes, I got to keep going. But it is very, 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 very long process. And to answer your question, do I have burnout? Absolutely. I mean, in the early years of my channel, I'd go like months at a time without making a video because I'm like, nobody's going to watch it.
Yeah.
What's the point? Like, all that stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's something people miss too when they notice content creators like you, or they're posting lots of Star Wars stuff all the time and they see a consistency in you, is people don't realize that the mistakes still happen. You know, like, we're just at the beginning of our podcast, but you wouldn't believe the amount of like mistakes and errors we've had at the beginning and just like the trials we had to go through just to start a podcast, you know. And some people just, they see the video and it looks great and they think that's all it took, you know. So there's a lot you got to persevere and push through. So good job.
No, it's insane. Like, from audio to visuals to even like just uploading something simple in storage on your computer. Years ago, I was using just my iPhone to record and my MacBook and all this stuff. My MacBook sounded like a jet engine, like it was gonna blow up, like it's trying to load too much stuff. Really, you don't know until you know. So you're on YouTube watching all these videos of how to do this, how to do that, how to do this. And it's just a never-ending cycle until you figure it out almost, and you're just learning everything by yourself. And it's the struggle, but it's also the fun of it all, I guess.
Yeah, there's two things I kind of want to go back on that you said. One, you were saying like when someone says great video, like how much that builds you up. Have you run into toxic fans and the big negativity that sometimes swirls around the Star Wars space?
Yeah. So, well, I mean, short answer, yes. I created The Guy Who Loves Star Wars for a reason. Like, A Guy Who Loves Star Wars is called that because I love Star Wars. And it kind of gets the point across immediately. Like, if you're clicking on this channel, this is the vibe here. Like, we're not really, like, crapping on Star Wars too much. Or really ever. But the whole gist of making the channel was to make a community or a place where people could talk about Star Wars and what they love about Star Wars, and have a civil conversation, what I like to say, online, where it's really not a lot of places you can do that. Because you go into a comment section somewhere, it's a war zone. But the craziest thing was last year around this time, or a little bit over a year ago, The Acolyte came out, and I'm sure as you guys are aware, The Acolyte is a very
Divisive.
Divisive is a great word. The Acolyte was one of the biggest things for my channel, numbers-wise, just because of, I feel like I liked it for the most part, story-wise, and a lot of people either didn't, or if they did and they were looking for a place to go, there was nowhere else really. So that was really good for my channel. But the amount of hate I got, like, I made breakdown videos of every episode, and every morning I'd wake up to just hundreds of comments, just like, how can you watch this? How are you still watching? Like, all this horrible, horrible things. And it is very hard to not let those get to you. But at the same time, you read the next comment, and it's like, I loved this too. So glad you liked this. Like, then you get to the next one. So it's very hard to not read each comment the same way, but you got to have a weight to the more positive ones and less of a weight to the more negative ones if you want to survive, because there's no way I would have quit last year if that was the case, because there was a lot of negativity. But I feel like the message has sort of gotten across now that I'm not even going to listen to you, I'm not going to respond to you, and I'm not going to, like, unless you have a valid criticism, which I love valid criticisms, don't get me wrong. But if you're just hating to hate, I feel like it's gotten a little bit better over the last year. But there was a time where it was like a brick wall hit me. Like,
yeah, it was kind of like a war zone. There was one post that I was kind of hesitant to post about the Acolyte because of the negativity, and like I posted one thing that was kind of pro Acolyte, and I lost 1,000 followers over one post. But then my problem was people were like unfollowing. I'm like, sweet, that's fine. I don't really care. You can unfollow. But then there was people that were saying like, hey, I don't think I can follow you anymore because of how much hate that like your following has and how mean they are to these people groups. I'm like, whoa. No, that's not me. That is just the comments. Like everybody, like I apologize, but it's like, I don't want the reflection of my commenters to be kind of who I am, I guess. It was rough.
it's very hard to toe that line too, because it's like, you could never please anybody, and you watch, you feel bad for Lucasfilm themselves because they can't please everybody. There's no way. And they're trying to when you look at the content that's coming out in the future, because you got stuff like Maul, or you got stuff like Ahsoka, or you got stuff beyond the sequels and before the prequels, and they're trying to please everybody at the same time. And that's a very difficult task to do, and they're never going to accomplish that. But even as content creators like ourselves, we're never going to please everybody either. So there's never going to be 100% of people agreeing on something ever. And when you put 1 billion Star Wars fans into the same room, which is online, they're never going to agree on anything. So it's a never-ending fight.
The never-ending story, sadly, but true. But hey, maybe it'll become better. Maybe, like, I don't know. It's sad because we get so much, like, here. My thing with Star Wars right now is like, I love it. I love all the content we're getting. I like, give me as much as you can. But then part of me is like, okay, maybe settle down, because now people are getting burnt out, like the whole like Avengers burnout, and like I don't want people to start hating Star Wars because there's too much, but like also I want as much as you will feed me. Like like it's kind of a weird level there. So you said earlier, I completely agree with you. Creating like a Star Wars page, creating this page, it has to be done from a place of passion, a place of something you want to do, not just for, because a lot of people, like I hit like 1,000 followers. Like, okay, when are you going to start making money? I was like, I don't know. I don't care. I'm just I want to post funny things. I want to get this creative side out of me. But on that, money, has been for you? Have you got any monetization like on YouTube? Any like sponsorships? How has that been going for you?
So, I mean, it's going great. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys.
Sure.
But I got monetized on YouTube, I think 2 years ago, either today or yesterday or something, like around this time. So 2 years ago. And I remember when I got to that point, because you're trying to thrive for that point, like for so long. And I got to that and I was like, this is the greatest thing ever. And then you make like $1 and you're like, okay, this was cool, but not like whatever. So it's not until, of course, you get a lot bigger where you actually start making actual money. So yeah, it's definitely there, which is nice. On other platforms, I mean, I could be monetized on TikTok and stuff. I just don't make that sort of content, I guess, for TikTok. I don't know. TikTok's a weird thing to me.
Yeah.
So not anything there, and Twitter, no, and Instagram kind of, but not really. Like it's weird. So mostly YouTube, but sponsorship-wise, I mean, I get sent some free stuff every once in a while, and maybe I get some promo codes and stuff, which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I mean, when it comes to, like, if another content creator that's just like a lifestyle brand or whatever they can get a sponsorship of anything. And I've gotten emails to like do stuff with random companies that have nothing to do with Star Wars, and they're like these big name companies. And obviously, if I just wanted money, I would be like, yeah, sure. But if I were to just sit there during my show and be like, now this is a sponsor from Poland Springs or something, like something random, like this is a Nike ad, like what would we be talking about? So I tend to stay away from those things unless it's Star Wars related, and even give it a second glance. But yeah, I mean,
so to the regular viewer too, I think a question that like maybe I would have had, or someone that doesn't do content or social media, they hear like you're over 100,000, so you've made it, like you don't have a job anymore and this kind of stuff. But I assume, do you still have a day job, or were you able to quit and do this?
Yeah, so This is the only thing I do, which is great.
Awesome.
It's fantastic. It's the dream. My commute is 2 flights of stairs. It's fantastic. But I don't really know the specific point where that happened. I still do some other things without getting into specifics, I guess. I don't have another full-time job. We'll put it that way. Yeah, I mean, it is really cool. It's the dream, I guess, as most people say. I don't know the exact. It's not like you hit 100,000 and you're done.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to be able to live.
Always growing. So what'd you do? Work at Subway before this when you started?
No.
Oh. I don't know.
I've worked a ton of different jobs.
Yeah.
Like I worked at grocery stores. I worked at gym. I worked painting. I did a ton of different stuff. But my last thing was painting,
Nice.
like painting houses. And I mean, that was fun. I mean,
Heck yeah,
you
dude.
got to find fun in everything you do, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to get anywhere near quitting my job. I do have 2 kids and a wife and a lifestyle and a mortgage and a lot of things that I have to hit at this point
You
in my
never
life.
know.
You never know. You do never know. I did recently get monetized by Instagram, which is cool. So they do pay me a little bit, not much, for my photos, which is
Yeah, Instagram's weird.
Instagram is weird. But hey, what are you gonna do? So yeah, I still do my full-time job, and my wife says I can't quit unless I'm making a lot. So if I would have started, man, my biggest regret is I wish I would have started this page back when The Force Awakens came out, because I thought about it, like, because that's when like Theory started his, and I thought about it, I'm like, I was kind of like, whatever. But thinking back, I'm like, man, I was an adult, I could have done that. What was I doing? But
Yeah.
alas, hindsight, and this is 2020 and all.
Yeah.
And
Well,
just
I
so
always
you
think
know,
that too. Like, why didn't you? No, go ahead.
okay, I was just gonna say, just so you know where I'm at with this. I don't want to take any credit away from him here. I am basically just the friend that has loved Star Wars, and I was there sometimes for meme submissions or to make a lightsaber video and stuff. But part of the reason we started this podcast was I would go over to his house sometimes, and we would just talk Star Wars for hours, and his wife would get annoyed at us, like, "How are you guys talking about this still?" And then we were like, maybe we should start a podcast so that we can just
Record
other people can
this.
hear us talk about this, like, why don't we just record this? But I have different goals I'm trying to become an actor right now, and I have a different passion that I'm pursuing, but I just am a big Star Wars fan. I'm a huge Disney guy, Star Wars fan, and so any chance that I get to be able to talk about it with him and be a part of his dream and passion, that's why I'm here to talk about it with you. So props to you guys. I'm so excited to see where you go with this,
Well, no, I mean that's usually the story. Like, you just, why not record this type deal? Like that's the best. Yeah.
100%.
No, absolutely. And I can't wait to see you in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood too.
Hopefully. My one goal, I would love to be in a Star Wars movie at some point. If I'm just an
Obviously.
extra and you see me for 1
I know.
second, that would be amazing.
That would be awesome.
My goal is just to get invited to a premiere, but that's my big goal in life currently.
I'd like that too.
well,
What's funny is, and you bring that up, that's harder than it looks. And honestly, I haven't really tried too hard to do that. The deadline is The Mandalorian and Grogu. I want to be invited to that.
I know.
yes.
But I mean, Lucasfilm, if you're watching, but it would be unbelievably cool to go to one of those things and just not only see all the actors and stuff, but get to watch the premiere and then see all the people that like Ethan even just said, just being a background character in Star Wars would be the coolest thing ever. Just being there with those people would be the coolest thing ever. Yeah.
100%. Yeah, there's a couple cosplayers I know that get invited to some, like they got invited to the Acolyte, and they have like 27,000 followers on Instagram. And I reached out to them like, how do they do this? And they're like, they like cosplayers. Lucasfilm loves cosplayers because that's like a very kind of accepting community. And I like, obviously, like there's one big podcast, Star Wars podcast, that gets invited to a lot of them. Whatever it's Star Wars Explained, I believe.
Yeah.
He's on their radar. So like, I'm like, okay, I just gotta not be on their bad side. But there's so many content creators, right? Like, it's just luck of the draw about them noticing someone or go viral, and then like someone on their team notices. Like I reached out, like there is like an email address you can reach out to,
Yeah.
on Lucasfilm.com, by the way, if you want to email them and be
Oh, yeah, I see that.
like I run a fan page, and like that's why my bio says I am not affiliated at all with Lucasfilm, but someday, so I'll wait. You know, I'll take the Rebuild the Galaxy season 2 invite. I'd love
great.
literally any contact from Lucasfilm. I would go crazy for.
Same, absolutely. Funny you bring that up too. Getting on their radar type thing.
Mm-hmm.
I never understood like if Lucasfilm was watching me or anything. Like if they knew about me, I'd always have these weird people come into my chats and be like, "Lucasfilm has no idea who you are." Like I work for Lucasfilm. Like I get a lot of those actually.
Weird.
People who claim to work for Lucasfilm, who definitely don't. It's been proven time and time again. But during the Acolyte, right before I think episode 4.
Okay.
Remember there was a character that was Plo Koon's species, and everybody's like, is that Plo Koon?
Yes.
Right before the episode started, during my watch party, I see a comment go by that just says Star Wars. And I'm like, what? And there's a check mark next to the name. And I'm like, wait a second. And I click on the profile like 6 times to make sure first, before I even let the chat know what's going on. And it keeps taking me back to the official Star Wars channel. I'm like,
Whoa.
They're here. And I forget what they said at first. I have no idea. But I sat there and I was like, okay, we got to ask them a question that they'll actually answer. So I said, is that Plo Koon? Which they obviously won't answer.
Yeah,
but they
yeah.
did answer. And they told us right before the show even started that it wasn't. And they told us who the character was, what the name was, and whatever. It was the coolest thing ever.
That's cool.
Wow, that's awesome.
They came back one other time during the run of the Acolyte, maybe the finale or something. And then they came back for Skeleton Crew, where after the Can't Remember Noad Atten episode, they just came in after the episode, said, I can't say I remember Noad Atten, and left. And I haven't seen them since, but it was like the coolest thing ever. And I was like, it's just the gratification of we're here watching and we like what you're doing. Just a little nod. Like it's just simple, like, yep, we see you type
That's
deal.
so
And
cool.
it's so cool.
That's amazing. Ethan, we need to, I've always thought about doing, what we do currently is we watch an episode of like a new show, and then we go down to my basement and we record a podcast episode about it. You know, we could just live stream it, Ethan, instead.
I was going to say a watch party is such a good idea. I don't know how we haven't thought of that, but
Well,
man.
dang
Yeah,
it.
I do watch parties for everything, and being Eastern Standard Time,
Yep.
the shows used to be 3 a.m. because
Yep.
it was midnight, and that was brutal. And the greatest thing was them switching it over to 9.
Yep,
It's awesome.
it is
Still
awesome.
up all night, but it's better than waking up at 3 in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
And you get to do the watch party, and then you get to do it's just a lot better.
I think,
man,
I
and
think
we were
that's really
complaining
smart of them
sometimes
in
about
general.
it being 6 p.m. our time.
Well,
You have it way worse.
we were waiting till the kids went to bed. We were waiting till 8, to be fair.
Yeah, true.
But so that's definitely, I have a question on here that's like, what's your biggest like big name interactions you've had? And obviously Star Wars
That's it.
would be the
Well, I
the
have
one.
a few other ones. So yes, Star Wars was the big one. It was crazy. But about a year ago, or around this time, Rosario Dawson on Instagram put
Nice.
one of my videos on her story. And
That's cool.
I was like, what's going on? A couple people DM me. They were like, you're on Rosario Dawson's story.
Yep.
I was like, what are you even talking about? There's no way. And then I go on there, and it was one of my posts on Instagram, and she reposted it onto her story. I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. Another one, Rosario Dawson actually recently commented on one of my posts, which was cool. Iman Esfandi's commented on one of my posts, which is really cool. I think he's like I thought Rosario was a great cast too, but Iman's like the perfect cast for Ezra Bridger.
Yep.
And I'm a huge Rebels guy, so that's really, really cool. I think that's it, but there's a couple really cool, and because that would be cool if it was anybody in Star Wars,
Yeah.
but because it's Ahsoka and because it's Ezra, like two of my
Yeah.
favorite characters, I'm like, this
Yeah.
is awesome.
That is so cool. The best I have for like actual actors in the show is the actress that played Shin Hati. What's her name? Ivana.
Yeah.
Ivana,
Um,
Sakno, however you say it.
I posted like just a meme, and she commented. I shared it everywhere. She commented, "LOL." which was
That's
like
awesome.
it was still really awesome, for sure. My only other cool name drop I have is the guy who plays Master Skywalker. There's too many of them. We're like friends now.
Oh,
We met
nice.
in real life. Like we message each other pretty frequently. We went out to dinner a couple times. Like that was the
Yeah,
coolest.
he actually followed my personal account too.
It was
I
so.
thought that was
That's
hilarious.
awesome.
It was such a rant. It was I was at like the smallest convention ever, and like they're like, hey, we have an open spot at like the Shiki restaurant. You want to come with us? And I went out with like a R2D2, a girl who played R2D2, and a girl who played a Jawa, and like a Rebel pilot. It was pretty much the best day of my life. Don't tell my wife.
Sounds awesome.
I was, anyways. It's just those moments, right? Like any kind of interaction with anyone, bigger names. Like I don't put these people on a pedestal by any means. Like I don't, like they're still people. They make mistakes. Like they're not like perfect, but like that interaction, like everyone, that's like a universal thing. Like, oh wow, I have been noticed. And yeah, I think it's just so cool.
And not completely Star Wars related too, but you also had Oreo and Shermu. That was pretty cool.
True. Or Oreo's messaged me a few times, and like Lucky Charms, I think, which is
That's really cool.
but like
Well,
Yeah.
I got one more Star
Mhm.
Wars one, and
Yeah.
I can't believe I almost forgot this. 2 years ago, we went to Fan Expo Boston, which Fan Expo Boston was this last weekend, and Hayden and Ewan were both there.
nice.
But I got a picture with Hayden Christensen 2 years ago at Fan
That's so
Expo
cool.
Boston, which was so cool.
That's so cool.
And
Wow.
just him being in front of you is like,
He's big.
what is going on? Yeah,
Larger than life.
literally.
That is so cool. I love those.
It
I
is-
remember
it
we
is
were
crazy.
upset at ourselves because we missed out. When we saw the re-release of Episode 1, we watched that at El Capitan Theater, and then when we went to watch Revenge of the Sith, we just decided to watch it like nearby in Seattle. And then that's when Hayden Christensen decided to go to El Capitan Theater. We're like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
like how did we miss that? But
That's
Yeah.
brutal.
I think
Yeah.
I'll be trying to grab those interactions next time they come out, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah, it is cool. All the conventions and stuff, they allow you to just meet the people.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
It's definitely because I'm not really a convention person, right? I don't cosplay, I don't go to
Yeah.
conventions. It was definitely real awkward at the first. Dude, it's so embarrassing. I brought my own picture of Ross Beedman with me because I didn't know he would be selling them. Because obviously he would be selling. I didn't know
Yeah.
anything about this culture. I had no idea. It was
was the
so
same.
awkward. And conventions are still kind of awkward to me in general. Because I'm like, I don't know, what do I do? Just sit around, wait for a panel? I don't know.
I love him. I'm a
But-
cosplayer and I like to meet everybody, but yeah. Yeah, do you go to all the conventions too? Like you go to BritCon, Comic-Con?
No, I've only ever been to Fan Expo Boston
Yeah.
twice. It's
Fan Expos are
right
good.
nearby.
Yeah.
And it's fun. And the 2 times I went, they were pretty loaded. I actually I didn't get a picture with them, but I also like met James Arnold Taylor,
Mhm.
Matt Lanter, and Ashley Eckstein. All
Wow.
3 of them were at the convention.
Yeah, because it normally
that was
costs a little
pretty
bit
cool.
extra to get a picture, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. And yeah, I mean, I haven't gone to the big cons like the San Diego Comic-Con and stuff. I haven't gone to any Star Wars celebrations either.
Are you
But
going?
when it goes to LA, I'm definitely going.
You go good because I'm part of a Discord group that we're all gonna like buy each other tickets if they get in first. Like
Oh, nice.
we're like okay, let us know when they come for sale. Like we're in a Facebook group. Like I'm going to that. I will
Yeah.
that's like important to me to not miss this year.
I mean, it's going to be the 50th anniversary, but
yeah.
it's also in LA. Japan, I was kind of thinking about, but
Yep.
because it was Japan, I was like, I
Yep.
can't go all the way halfway across the world. It was just too much. And then I was like, all right, maybe I'll go to the next one. And when they announced it was LA, I was like, all right, I'm definitely going to the next
yeah.
one.
It's
So I
gonna
think it's going to be packed.
it's gonna be packed. It's gonna be insane. And yeah. Sorry, go
I'm
ahead.
also a Disney D23 member, so we're hoping to go to D23 convention when that's coming out as well.
We'll see.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, because next year there's nothing really happening in Star Wars, but there is the George Lucas Museum opening, and I'm
The Saga
trying
Museum.
to see if I can get. No, that's a different one. There's also the Saga Museum, which is like there's all these people that like I don't know if you ever heard of Rancho Obi-Wan, the guy that has the largest Star Wars.
Yeah.
So we got to go tour one of their collectors' like private collections. Gus is his name in Seattle. Crazy collection just in his house, and he has like original things from the movies. Like
Yeah, it was insane.
he has
Overwhelming
anyways.
the amount of cool Star Wars collectibles he had.
But anyways, no, but George Lucas has his museum next year, which I I try to do one Star Wars trip a year, one boys trip, just do something Star Wars related. And I think I'm going to try to get to that next year. Got a little sidetracked there. Mike, what the last thing I really want to talk about is like future plans. Like, do you have anything like coming newer that you're trying to do different? Or are you just going to stick with the same formula for a while till you hit a certain milestone? Like, what is the future for a guy who loves Star Wars?
Well, yeah, that's it's almost it's way easier said than done. But there's a lot of things I have in the works, and I have had in the works for years. I think when you have more of a following, of course, but more like just money to use, it allows you to do bigger projects and bigger things. I love doing the what ifs. I've taken a break from the what ifs since like the beginning of the year because of Andor and all the other stuff that was happening. So I want to get back to doing those, but in a newer way with some more sort of animation type things going on there. But I've always had this very big idea that I've never really even said publicly, I guess, that I would love to do for the channel. And the biggest thing, especially with Star Wars content creators, is being something like different and standing out. And that's always sort of the goal to do. And getting to that, I guess, next level would be to do something of that sort. Like everybody is doing the videos that I'm sort of doing. Everybody does what ifs. Everybody does all that stuff. So you want to make yourself almost look different than others. And there's very few ways to do that, especially in Star Wars, because so many things have already been done. There's so many people making Star Wars content out there. So that's nothing very specific, I guess I got for you. But
that's fine. That's fine. Yeah. But it's exciting though. I'm excited to see how you grow, where you go to. We should meet up in LA because I'm like making a list of like all these creators. I want to like go out to dinner, like meet up like a little bit. Like I don't know. It'll be nice to have someone like, cause like me and Ethan will go and like that's fun, but it's like there's something about it, like meeting up with a group of people that all agree with you on something and just like having a fun time. Like I don't need to know people in depth. Like we just started this conversation and we've had a whole conversation. I don't know anything about you, and that's fine because we have a common not enemy, a common goal, a common interest, and it just works. But yeah, I think that's all I have. Thanks for joining. If you're listening, guys, go follow Mike on YouTube and Instagram at A Guy Who Loves Star Wars. Any last thoughts you want to say to the world? The world, 5 people.
Well, I will say if you are out there and you're trying to either start a Star Wars content of any sort, do it. If you're thinking about doing it, do it. It might not be very rewarding at first. You definitely got to love Star Wars to do it, but it's the most fun you'll ever have. And when you're 5 years in and Ethan says congrats on all the reward, it's an incredible feeling. So if you're ever out there debating on whether or not you should do it, and that goes for anything, I guess. If you're debating on whether or not you should start a new job or start a new fun thing or do anything fun in life, do it. Do it while you can. Do it while you have the chance, and you're never going to get any younger.
And that was Mike from A Guy Who Loves Star Wars. Thank you for making it this far. As always, may the Force be with you. And if you have any suggestions, send them over to us on Instagram.